Hello students, last class we studied about energy, right? Energy is a capacity or ability of the body to do work. And the SI unit of energy is joule. And the dimensional formula of energy is mL square T power minus 2. And like work, energy is also a scalar quantity. It is having magnitude only, no direction. Okay. And last class we studied about a work energy theorem. The work energy theorem states that the work done by a net force on a body, is equal to change in its kinetic energy. This is the expression for work energy theorem. And last class we seen the work energy theorem for constant force. Now we are going to derive the work energy theorem for variable force. Okay, the work energy theorem for variable force. Okay, before going to this derivation, we should know some basic formulas of differentiation. That is, differentiation of any constant is equal to 0. Here I am taking the differentiation of this constant with respect to x. If it is differentiation of constant with respect to t, that is also 0. Differentiation of any constant gives the value 0. And the differentiation of x with respect to x, that is equal to 1. Okay, differentiation of constant is equal to 0 and the differentiation of x with respect to x is equal to 1 and the differentiation of x to the power n with respect to dx is equal to n into x to the power n minus 1. And differentiation of u to the power n with respect to x. Here the differentiation of x power something with respect to x, but here the differentiation of u with respect to x. So it gives, the formula is n into u to the power n minus 1 into du by dx and then integration. These are the basic formulas of differentiation. I have integration of d to the power x is equal to x. Integration of d to the power x equal to x and integration of, okay, if there is some limit, okay, I'll take a and b. The differentiation of dx in between the limit a and b. Here b is a upper limit value and a is a lower limit value. Then how to apply this? The integration of dx is x. Then here we have to apply the limit. The limit is from a to b. Then which is equal to, first we have to substitute the value of upper limit in place of this x, that is b, minus in place of x the value of lower limit, that is a. Yes, the integration of dx in between the limit a to b is equal to b minus a. This is the some basic formulas of integration and differentiation. Later you are going to study this in detail in your mathematics classes. Okay, just remember this. For example, if it is d power x and dx cube, the differentiation of x cube with respect to x means, according to this formula, it is equal to n means 3 here, 3 into x to the power n minus 1, that is 3 minus 1 is 2. So differentiation of x cube with respect to x is 3x square. Okay, this is a way of finding the differentiation of x cube. Okay. Yes, we are going to derive the work energy theorem for variable force. Variable force means the magnitude of the forces keeps changing. Okay, and yeah, we know that the statement, isn't it? The statement of work energy theorem, it states that the work done by a net force on a body is equal to change in its kinetic energy. Change in its kinetic energy. That is, work done is equal to Kf minus Ki. Here Kf and Ki are the initial, final and initial value of kinetic energy corresponding to final position and initial position. Okay. Consider a body of mass m. Consider a body of mass m. Consider a body of mass m is moving with velocity. Is moving with velocity v. Is moving with velocity v. Okay. Then the kinetic energy of the body is I will write K, where K is a kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of the body is given by half mv square. This is our expression for kinetic energy. Last class we derived it, right? So kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. Then the time rate of change of kinetic energy. The time rate of change of kinetic. The time rate of change of kinetic energy is given by differentiation of this K, that is differentiation of kinetic energy with respect to time. With respect to time. Okay, where T is a time value. dk by dt tells us how the kinetic energy of the bodies varies with respect to time. Okay, that is equal to d by dt of this one. K value, this one, no? It is half mv square. Okay, then dk by dt is equal to, here half is a constant value, right? And the value of m is constant for a particular body, isn't it? It is constant, right? So I can take this half and m outside of this differentiation. So I can write it as half into m, then I'll write the remaining. The remaining is v square inside the differentiation sign. Okay, now it is differentiation of v square with respect to time. dk by dt is equal to half formula we can use out of this? See, this one is useful, no? See here, in place of u we have v. In place of u we have v, and in place of x we have t. Here it is with respect to x, differentiation of u to the power n with respect to x. But here differentiation of v square with respect to time. Just use this formula. Here n, the value of n is 2 here, no? So it is 2 into u power n minus 1. That means v power n minus 1. That is 2 minus 1. The power 1 into du by dx. Here it is dv by dt. dv by dt. I can write dk by dt, which is equal to this 2 get cancelled. The remaining is m into v into dv by dt. We know, we already studied this, right? dv by dt is equal to acceleration value. You already studied it in your motion in a straight line chapter, right? dv by dt, the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, gives acceleration of the body. So I can write, instead of dv by dt, I can write a. Yes. Here dk by dt, which is equal to, look at this, mva. I can write it ma into v, no? Same thing, isn't it? So m into a, which is equal to force from Newton's second law of motion. I can write m into a, which is equal to f into v. And again, I can write that is v equal to dx by dt. dx by dt, right? So I'll write dx by dt here in place of v. In place of v, I can write dx by dt. Then which gives dk is equal to f into dx. Then integrating from the initial position to initial position, I'll write it as xi, where xi is the initial position to final position. Final position is xf. Okay, we have to integrate these things in between the limit xi and xi. This is kinetic energy value, right? So that we have to take the limit, that is ki and kf. Upper limit is f and this is lower limit into dk, which is equal to integration of this limit here, xi to xf into f dx, where ki and kf are the initial and final kinetic energy corresponding to xi and xf, where xi is the initial position of the body, xf is the final position of the body. Here f is a variable force, no? The value of f is changing in between this limit. So we have to integrating this. and Kf are the initial and final kinetic energy of the body corresponding to initial and final position of the body. Okay. Then I'll rub this. Okay. Differentiation. See here. Differentiation of dx, I already mentioned the differentiation of dx is x. Likewise, here it is k. Right now, differentiation of dk means k. And between the limits, what is the limit value? Ki and kf, which is equal to, right as it is. It is x side to xf integration from between the limit x side to xf into f dx. Okay. Then, how I am applying the limit here? First, I have to substitute the value of upper limit in place of x. Upper limit value is b, no? Here it is kf minus ki. Upper limit value minus lower limit value. Lower limit value here it is a. Here it is ki. So it becomes kf minus ki, which is equal to integration of x side to xf f into dx. F into dx. Right here. This kf minus ki, which is equal to, do you remember the form? This is a expression for work done by a variable force, right? It is a work done by a variable force given by integration between the limit x side to xf into f of x into dx. You can write x or write as it is. Okay, write like this also. It is also correct. Understood. Okay, the value of f is changing with respect to this x value. Here f is a variable force, right? The magnitude of f force is changing with respect to the value of x. Okay. So I can write this integration of x side to xf f into dx. I can write it as w, that is work done, isn't it? I can write it as work done. This is my work energy theorem expression. As work done by net force on a body is equal to change in its kinetic energy. This is the proof. Okay. Proof of work energy theorem by variable force. Okay. Please remember this basic formulas of differentiation and integration. It is very useful to you in the coming classes also. Okay. Next we'll go for potential energy. Potential energy. Potential energy. The potential energy means it is an energy possessed by the body. It is an energy possessed by the body due to its configuration or due to its position. It is a potential energy is a energy possessed by the body due to its position. Or we can say the the body, potential energy, the ability of the body, to do work, due to its configuration or position. The ability of the body, the potential energy is a ability of the body to do work due to its position or configuration. Let's see, there are mainly two types of potential energy. One is gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. Let us see the expression for gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy. Okay. Consider a body of mass. Consider a body of mass m. Consider a body of mass m is lying on the surface of the earth. Lying on the surface of the earth. Then surface of the earth. This is our ground level, surface of the earth. This body, the mass of this body is m. Okay. Consider a body of mass m is lying on the earth's surface. Then the force required to lift the body, this body, which is equal to weight of the body, right? The force required to lift the body to certain height, that is equal to weight of the body, isn't it? So I can write this weight is equal to force. The force is required to lift the body. Lift the body is equal to its weight. Right? So I can write F equal to m into g. Weight is equal to m into g, no? Yes. So I can write the force required to lift the body is equal to its weight. So F equal to m into g. Then let the body is lifted through some sitting height h from the ground level. Okay, the same body is imagine the body is lifted to a certain height h. Then the work done on this body, is given by the work done on the body is given by W is equal to force into displacement, right? Here our force is in this direction and the displacement is also in this direction, right? Our force is against gravity, isn't it? The force direction as well as the displacement of the body is same. So So that our expression for work is F into D. Here the force is nothing but weight of the body. So I can write it as M into G. And D is nothing but the displacement. It is H, no? Work done is equal to mgh I got. And this work done on the body, is stored as potential energy in the body. Okay, this work done on the body is stored as potential energy of the body. So I can write this work done is equal to potential energy. It's an expression for gravitational potential energy. Here M is the mass of the body, G is the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, where G is the acceleration due to gravity. And H is the distance or height we can say. Okay, height of the body from the ground level. Okay, this is the expression for gravitational potential energy. It is mgh. Potential energy is equal to mgh. Okay, I'll repeat once. Consider a body which is lying on the surface of the earth. Then the force required to lift the body which is equal to its weight. So I can write F equal to M into G. Okay. Then, if let's consider a body is lifted to some height h. Now the position of the body is here. Then the distance between this body and the ground level is h. Okay, the height is h. Then the work done on this body is equal to mgh. And this work done on the body is stored as potential energy in the body. Okay, it is stored as potential energy in the body. So we can say potential energy is a energy possessed by the body due to its position or its configuration. Okay. Example, the waters in a tank which is above the ground, and the potential energy of the water stored in a tank above the ground, and a stretched bow, the potential energy in the stretched bow, and the potential energy in the stretched rubber band. So the example, because of its position, because of its change in position, these bodies possess some energy. This is called potential energy. Okay, we'll go for spring force. I already mentioned this spring force, isn't it? It is an example for conservative force. Example for conservative force, right? The spring force means, suppose when a spring is stretched or compressed. When a spring is stretched or compressed by an external force, then a restoring force is developed in the spring, right? Just imagine a spring is fixed at one end. Okay. This is the position of this is spring when it is unstretched. When it is unstretched. Okay. The spring when it is stretched. When it is stretched. Okay. And same spring when it is compressed. When it is compressed. Okay. Then I'll write the displacement. This is our mean position, isn't it? So from here to here it is x. Then in this case it is this. Here x value is equal to 0. This is mean position. When spring is unstretched, this is the position. This is the equilibrium position of the spring, you can say. This is the diagram for a spring which is stretched, and this is the diagram for a spring which is compressed. Okay. When a spring is stretched or compressed by external force, then a restoring force is developed in the spring due to the elasticity of the spring. Due to the elasticity of the spring, restoring force is developed in the spring, and the direction of this restoring force is opposite to the direction of applied force. Our applied force is in this direction, means the restoring force is acting opposite to that of applied force. Okay. This force is developed in the spring due to the elasticity of this spring. Okay. And again, this restoring force developed in the spring opposite to the applied force is called spring force. Okay. When a spring is stretched or compressed by external force, restoring force is developed in the spring. This restoring force is due to the elasticity of the spring, and this restoring force is acting opposite to the direction of applied force, or we can say opposite to the direction of displacement. See, here the displacement is in this direction, right? And the restoring force is acting in this direction. This restoring force, which have the tendency to bring back the spring to its initial position, or we can say to its equilibrium position. Okay, the restoring force which have the tendency to bring the spring back to its initial position. This restoring force developed in the spring is called spring force. It's called spring force. And the notation for spring forces Fs. Fs. This is a variable force. Means the magnitude of Fs keeps changing. Okay. It is changing with respect to the value of x. And we can say this spring force is proportional to x, where x is a extension or compression. Where x is the extension. In this case it is extension. Here it is compression. Or you can say x is a displacement. Displacement of the spring. And this is a force, no? This is equal to remove this proportionality sign, here introduce one constant, that is k into x, where k is known as spring constant. Where k is known as spring constant. Where k is known as spring constant. Okay, and minus q. One minus sign, because the spring force is acting opposite to the direction of displacement. Suppose the direction of displacement is in this, means our spring force is acting in a reverse direction. That is, spring force is acting opposite to this displacement. Here also, the displacement is in this direction, no? The displacement is in this direction, but the spring force is acting in opposite direction. This is the direction of spring force. Okay, so that having minus sign here. This is the expression for spring force. Fs is equal to minus k into x, where x is the extension or compression or displacement. Okay, and then k is a spring constant. Okay. Next we are going to derive the expression for potential energy of a stretched spring. Potential energy of a stretched spring. Due to the change in configuration of the spring when it is stretched or when it is compressed, due to the change in configuration of this spring, there is some some energy is developed in the spring. That the energy is generated in the spring. That is called potential energy, we can say. Okay. This potential energy is a energy possessed. Potential energy of the spring is the energy possessed by the spring due to its change in configuration or due to its configuration, we can say. Potential energy of a spring is known is a energy possessed by the spring, energy possessed by the spring due to its configuration. We have the spring force expression, that is Fs is equal to minus k into x, where k is a spring constant. Where k is a spring constant, Fs is the spring force and x is a extension or compression. I already mentioned Fs, the spring forces on variable force, its magnitude keeps on changing, right? Then, if xm is the maximum extension, if xm is a maximum extension, see at equilibrium position, this is the equilibrium position, no? Here the value of x is 0. Here it is 0. This is the stretched one, so here x equal to xn, the maximum extension or maximum displacement from the in position, we can say. The extension, then the work done by the spring is given by work done is equal to, this is variable force, no? And the expression for work done for a variable forces, work done by a variable force is given by integration between the limit 0 to xm. At equilibrium position, the value of x is 0. At maximum extension, the value of x is xm. So, the limit value is from 0 to xm into fs into dx. This is the expression for variable force. Yes. Just substitute the value of 0 to xm. And the value of fs is minus kx dx. Here we are writing the magnitude value. So Don't write this arrow. Then minus integration from 0 to xm into kx dx. See, when k is a constant value, right? K is a constant. It is known as spring constant. So I can take this out from this integration sign. So it becomes the work done is equal to 0 to xm minus, I will take this minus out from this integration sign, and k is also constant, so I can take out. Then between the limit 0 to xm and the remaining is x into dx. Okay. See, remember one more basic formula of integration, that is integration of x to the power n into dx is equal to x to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Okay, the integration of x to the power n into dx is equal to x to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Similarly here, now this is our expression. Work done is equal to minus k into integration of x dx. See, the power of n, here it is 1, no? The power of x is 1 here. So, according to this formula, that is 1 plus 1, isn't it? Here it is n plus 1. In this case, it becomes, the value of n here is 1, so it is 1 plus 1. So x to the power 2 divided by n plus 1. It is 2. And you have some limit value also. So you have to substitute the value of this limit. Okay. Then the work done is equal to minus k 2. I can take this out. 2 into just substitute the value of upper limit in place of x first. That is xm, in place of x we have to substitute the value of upper limit, that is xm, and you have one power here, right? So it is 2 minus, in place of x just substitute the value of lower limit, that is 0. So 0 power, again 0 square means also it is 0, right? Then this term vanishes. These things remain, isn't it? So remember this formula. Then we can write work done is equal to minus k xm square divided by 2. This is a work done by the spring. This is work done by the spring due to the spring force, isn't it? Due to the spring force, this is the work done by the spring, due to the spring force. And what about the work done on the spring? The work done on the spring, that is due to the applied force, isn't it? Applied force, or we can say in this case it is due to the stretched force. So the work done on the spring, is given by, is equal to, work done is equal to k x to the power m whole square divided by 4. Say it is xm square divided by 2. There is no minus sign because this is the work done by the spring, and due to spring force, this is work done on the spring due to the applied force, so we can say due to the stretched force, these two forces are acting opposite to each other, isn't it? Right? Our restoring force or spring force is acting in opposite to the direction of applied force. So there is no minus sign. This is the expression for work done on the spring. Then this work done on the spring is stored in the spring as potential energy. Okay, this work done on the spring is stored in the spring as potential energy. Okay, I'll write W is equal to U. U is a potential energy. So I can write potential energy of the stretched spring is equal to potential energy of the stretched spring is equal to Kxm square divided by 2. This is the expression for elastic potential energy or expression for potential energy of a stretched spring. Okay, where Xm is a maximum extension, where K is a spring constant. Okay, this work done on the spring, is stored in the spring as potential energy. If m by x value 0 means at equilibrium position. Suppose this is a diagram of unstretched spring means equilibrium position the value of x is 0. Right, at equilibrium position the value of x is 0. So we can say at equilibrium position the potential energy of the spring is 0. U is equal to 0 at equilibrium position. At equilibrium position, the potential energy of the spring is 0. Okay, equilibrium position, the potential energy of the spring is 0. This is the expression for potential energy of a stretched spring. While writing the derivation, the sentences are very important. Don't write just mathematical steps, okay? Write these sentences. Okay, then. Mass energy equivalence. Or we can say Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Einstein's mass energy equivalence. According to Einstein's, this mass and energy are related to each other, related with each other. He showed his special theory of relativity. The kinetic energy of a moving body is c square is equal to c square times the mass of the body. In his special theory of relativity, he proved the kinetic energy of a moving body is c square times the mass of the body, where c is speed of light in Barlow. The speed of light speed of light in vacuum. And the value of c is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. The value of c is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Or we can say c is the speed of light in free space. According to Einstein, the mass and energies are interconvertible. That means the mass can convert it into energy and energy can convert it into mass. According to Einstein, the mass and energies are interconvertible. Means a mass can convert it into energy and energy can convert it into mass. This is known as Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Okay, the Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Given by the question is equal to mc square. Where m is the mass of the body, it is the energy of the body, c is the speed of light in free space. The value of c is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Okay, we will continue in the next.